Morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm pleased. I'm looking for my pen. There it is. So, let's dive in. You guys could take yourself off mute. I am curious how last week was for you. What's one word that describes last week for you?
Just in general?
Yeah, one word.
Eventful.
Eventful. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Daniel, I see you're off mute. What have you got? One word.
Grateful.
Excellent. I love it. Lily, what about you? What you got? What's the one word for last week? One word. You're still on mute. It's not working. But you were off mute for a minute. Type it in the chat while you figure it out. Nice. Amazing. Nice. I love it. You guys sound like you had good mixed bag weeks. What's it like to summarize a whole week in one word? What does that do for you?
Makes you reflect on where that word actually leads you.
Yeah, thank you.
I was going to use that same word, reflection.
Reflection. Oh, it's interesting. Yeah. Lily, type yours in the chat too. Reflection. Interesting. Okay. So how are we going to start today? The last couple of weeks, we started with breathing just to sort of settle down. But let's do something different this week. Let's do this. I'm going to ask each of you a question. Oh, we got somebody else popping in here. I'm going to ask each of you a question, and I would love it if you would write your response, and then I would also like to go around the circle and hear what everybody has to say. But before we do that, we've got some new people online that I haven't met before. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Candy Motzek, and I am so glad you're here. It is Monday morning is one of those times for me that I set this little chunk of time to help people within the coaching community, within my coaching community, just to start their week off on the right foot, however that might be. And please do not, excuse me, no thank you. Just a minute. All right. Looks like we had an unusual visitor that we don't need. So this is a space where I just open the floor. Sometimes I have questions, sometimes we do journaling, sometimes I do some light coaching, but I just want you to know that my intention with this time is to help you create the best week that you can have for this coming week. I know how challenging it can be. Life gets busy, our brains get busy. And sometimes just that having like half an hour or 45 minutes at the start of the week can make all the difference to what you get accomplished, during the week, how you experience your life during the week. And so I just decided, I think it was back in January, I just decided that this was a good idea. This is call number 16. So we've been going at it for a while. And Daniel, I think you get like the gold star, man, on most attendees. So glad that you're here. And so I just wanted to talk about that. The other thing that I wanted to mention to everyone is that for the month of June, I have a mini program that is starting. It's called the Accountability Project. And what my aim is to create a container where every participant chooses one project that they want to do within their business, and then we'll make it happen together. We're going to pull together the plan, the delivery, the milestones so that you know when you're on track. I will help to guide you so that it's not too big of a project. I want you to feel the success of actually accomplishing the things that you set out for. And then that will be done in a kickoff call at the beginning of the month of June, June 1st. And then each Monday during the month of June, we'll get together and we'll coach. And what we're going to coach on is the places that it's not going exactly how you expected, both in the good way and the bad way. The places where you see that you might be procrastinating, the places where you're having some just things are just not doing what you want it to do. Maybe it didn't work the way you wanted it to. Maybe you're just stumbling a little bit on getting that project complete. So I would love to invite you to join. If you want to be part of it, I will put the link in the chat. And welcome. I'd love to see you guys there. We kick off June 1st with a kickoff call for Monday calls. And it's like one of those it's like a container that has a start and an end and a true purpose, in that I know what it's like to have things that I want to get done in my business and I just keep putting them off. So this is the place where you could bring that one thing and make it happen. So just wanted to invite you to join. Okay, so now let's go to the journaling. Got your book, got your pen, ready to write. The question that I have for you is this: what is one bold move you would make this week in your business that would make all the difference in the world? What is one bold move? I'm going to put my timer on and give you a couple of minutes to journal on it and just see what you come up with. What is one bold move? Come join me. So what's that like to hear, just to hear the question? Like, it's kind of like it puts you on the spot, right? Like first thing, well, for me, first thing anyway, first thing Monday morning, it's 9:10. I know that for some of you, it's not, for some of you, it's noon or even later. But what's that like just to hear that question? What is the one bold move that you could do in your business? Take yourself off mute and tell me, or type it in the chat, whichever is the most comfortable for you.
It crystallizes the mission for the week.
Okay.
What needs to be done.
Yeah. Yeah. And was it a little bit uncomfortable to hear the word bold?
It was more like a challenge.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Okay.
When you
Who
said
else wants
bold,
to share?
when you said bold, I was referring to, I was thinking of BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't, you know what? I don't subscribe to that BHAG thing. I know that that's weird. Like I'm a super type A person, but what it does is it just makes me tight. And then I don't accomplish anything because it's got to be huge or it's not worthwhile. And I'm like, that's crazy, right? I make better progress doing things that are within, within my scope, my brain's scope right now. So that's interesting. What else did you think, Daniel, when you heard it?
Sort of get me out of my comfort zone.
Good. That's why we're here. Cool. Allison, I see you're also off mute. What you got?
I think the first thing I want to do, I don't have a business going yet, but that's what I wanted. That's where the direction I'm moving. And I realized before I can really get any further, I think I need a social media coach. I am just not up to speed with social media. I do have a Facebook account, but I don't really participate. Other than to look at what other people have posted, because I didn't want, when I was working full time, I retired recently, and I just didn't want my life to be all about coming home from work and being, on checking email and social media all night. So, but it means I don't know many of the things that probably all of you just take for granted. So I really have to get up to speed with social media and technology and everything I would need to be able to do if I'm going to have a business. So I think that's what my first step needs to be.
Okay.
Get some coaching in.
How about starting small? What kind of business are you going to have? I'm curious. Always curious.
Well, probably I'd like to have a very small part-time coaching business because I'm retired. I don't want to be full on. I just want to do something that maybe a couple of days a week that, that I can help others and also, enjoy. I'd like to write. So I'm going to look into writing. So I'm going to be calling a writing coaching organization and just talking, getting information. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm looking at. And
sounds cool.
Mhm.
That sounds cool. I like it. You don't need to do much social media. That's where my brain is going, is social media can be very advantageous, but you don't need it. There's other ways to do it. So
yeah, I don't even know how to post a video on Facebook, or I don't know what hashtag something or other means.
yeah,
It's just
I
basic.
wouldn't worry too much about it. I wouldn't worry too much about that at this point. Okay, cool. I'm so glad you're here. Lily, what you got? What did you feel like when I asked you that? What is one bold move? Is your mic working? Oh, your mic is working.
Yeah, it's working now. Bold move actually is I have two clients, two appointments for this week, and my bold move would be to use during the coaching session a specific technique that I want. And NLP technique for both of them. Yeah.
Okay.
So
That sounds exciting. I love it. So use a specific technique. Okay. And how did you feel when I asked you the question about what is one bold move? Like when you actually just heard those words, what happened?
When I heard the word bold, I feel like I need to do something different. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So a question about, so Lily, you started us with what the bold move actually will be. Allison as well, you spoke to that. Katinka, do you have something to share with us about what might that bold move be?
Yes, completing the training for my new business.
Excellent. Excellent. You're right on track. Good for you. I love it. Okay. Daniel, what about you? What might that one bold move be?
I bought this new app that helps you set up your website, and it sort of
Oh.
makes it a lot simpler instead of, like, I like doing things myself, so it's instead of understanding how to use WordPress, it's more graphical user interface, and you just move things around and type what you need, and it's like a what you see is what you get. So as you start creating it on a template,
Mhm.
it starts automatically populating your website with what it looks
So you're
like.
basically filling in the wireframe and then
Yeah.
it automatically populates your website. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Makes it easier.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I have the platform for my website. My website does really well, but it is the silliest platform. And so I'll share it here because it might not be one that you have anticipated. I use Shopify for my website. And the reason that I'm telling you is just like you said about how it's, what you see is what you get, right? It's the same thing. Like you just create it in real time, step by step, drag and drop, move things around if you don't like the order, hide sections if you don't like them. And then I have blog functionality too. It's so easy. It's crazy. And then once I got into it, I refused to do the WordPress thing because why? But why? Right? So anyway,
Everyone uses WordPress, but then it's complicated.
yeah, right. And I want to be a coach. I don't want to be a web designer. So, so there's how come I made my choice. Anyway, just giving you a different view. I'm curious to hear how it goes. I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, I've never thought of using Shopify, but that's interesting.
I know. You know how it happened is that my coach dared me a couple of years ago, must be maybe 4 years ago now. She said, you say that you could just sort of like create a website quick and easy, like in a weekend? And I was like, yeah. And she says, okay, do it. And I did. It's the same stupid website that I created then. I just keep adding to it and it works. So hey, we don't need things to be difficult. People want to talk to people, not technology, right? So anyway, that's just my thoughts on the day. So this theme about bold move and what might it be, it is because I've gone back to the idea that we all have, we're all doing this because we have some kind of a calling. We all are going to be coaches. We're going to have a business because there's something larger calling at our life. And so it's really easy to get tangled up in that place of discomfort and wait for the fear to go away, think that the fear is a problem. But really, the fear is just this manufactured thing that our body and brain creates to hold us back. And so a small, bold move will give you that burst of energy, and then you'll be ready for the next and the next and the next. And that's why this idea about just one bold move, not changing the world, but one step at a time, can be so powerful. And then it also goes in line with the idea, I don't know if you guys have heard of the author Tara Moore, Playing Big. She is a CTI trained coach, as am I. And I did her Playing Big course, leadership course, probably 8 years ago. And I find this concept of playing big fascinating, in that there is the boldness, the new large thing that you want to go for, the way you want your calling to come through in this world. And then at the same time, there's that word of playing, right? Like to actually play at doing it. And it's sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but for me, it's like a juxtaposition. I'm either really good at working hard or I play, but then to play big within my business is a different concept. To make those things, I won't say easier, but more playful, and to hold them lighter. It makes the bold moves easier. It makes the creating the mission easier. It makes everything easier. And so that was just sort of the thing that I've been pondering about this weekend. And that's what I wanted to share with you, is this idea that we're all doing whatever we do in our life for a reason. Like, we're called to do this work. We want to help people. We want to create a life that is more meaningful, more abundant, more of everything, more of us coming through into our work. And then we get stuck in that mindset that everything has to be hard and perfect and grinding and fearful or fear-based. And just like, what if that wasn't true? Okay, so I want to hear from you. What have you guys got to say about this? What do you think about this playing big thing, this way these two words come together?
Can I jump in here?
Of course.
So it's very interesting to hear you say that, because this past weekend I took a training, and there was a lot of talk about the fear, what holds people back. And it dawned on me that if I could look at it like a child does, you know how children, they'll try anything, young children, they see something, they want to do it. It doesn't occur to them to be afraid. They just try it, and it doesn't work, and they keep trying and try something else. And it's part of their play, but their play is learning, and that's, child work is play. And I thought, and then I thought about, like how we have these separate areas of our life that's play and work. And I thought, if I were preparing to go on a trip, I would just be all in. I'd be pulling it all together, whatever I needed to do. It would be fun. I wouldn't be able to wait to get it all in place and get it done. I thought that's the mindset I'm going to adopt, that this is fun. And if I lose some money in the process, I don't care, because I'm going to keep, it's just going to be like the child who tries this and tries that and it doesn't work. I'm going to be careful, of course, about money, but I'm going to just look at it as I'm learning, I'm playing. I'm doing this because it's going to be fun, because that is the bottom line. Once we achieve these things, then it is fun.
It is. Honestly, it is. Yeah. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate that. This childlike approach, the feeling that comes to me is always this quality of curiosity, right? Mm-hmm. Curiosity and wonder, and not knowing the answer. And what's interesting is that you say, you describe that, but notice how, sorry, this is just the moment of tough coaching. Notice how that lights you up, but that's not the same emotion you were feeling when you're talking about, I don't know anything about social media. Right? So notice how it's like, oh, I forgot. I was going to be childlike about this. I don't need to find the perfect way. I don't need to find somebody who's going to show me the exact steps. I could just play and have fun with it. So bring what you already know to that place where your brain goes to, I have to figure this out in a tough way, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Time for the tough coaching. Sorry.
Oh, that's great.
Sometimes it's time, sometimes it's not. Yeah. Okay. Who wants to go next? I want to hear from you. What do you think?
I was thinking how to make your work into more of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Keep track and use the different tasks as pawns, or you mark it when it's finished, or make it somehow into a game instead of just oh my God, I have all these things I need to do.
Yeah, that's great. I know somebody who takes my habit tracker and puts googly face stickers on it as she finishes the tasks. I don't know who that somebody is. However, I have somebody like that. Hey, Markeisha, it's good to see you here. Yeah.
Hi.
I'm looking at you and I'm like, hey, happy Gamify doing the tasks. I know this.
Yes, the googly face stickers do help.
Ah,
Yes,
yeah.
I use the habit tracker for every time someone said no to something that I wanted. And I wanted to turn that into a game because sometimes rejection is such a difficult space for us to be in. So I was like, how can I make this fun? And I heard a quote that said, if you can if you can get 1,000 no's, you can accomplish anything in the world. So I use the habit tracker to track my 1,000 no's because I'm convinced that by the time that's done, I'll be a superhero.
And it's true. You are a superhero, right?
Thank you. And Allison, hearing about you talk about social media, that immediately struck my heart because I had this same exact fear. And I'm like, I am a child of social media and I still am afraid of, some of the workings and what to do with it from certain marketing aspects. But just a couple of weeks ago, actually, after one of these calls, my husband was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, we're going to just do this. And he held the camera up and he's like, you're going to create an Instagram video. And he's like, and I don't care if it's bad. And you don't care if it's bad because we have to get over this. And it's about the doing, not all of those other things. Just try it. And he said the same thing. He's like, look at our kids. We were on vacation at the time. And he's like, they're jumping off of this and jumping onto that. And they're in the pool and they're going to do it. And they're doing all of these things without thinking about them because it's fun for them. It's a game for them. So he's like, make it a game. He's like, let's just say, let's create as many horrible videos as we can. So what? Just do it. And that's what we did. And now I'm like, oh, this is easy.
And you had fun.
Markeisha.
And you had fun doing it.
Yeah, it's
right?
fun now. I create videos all of the time without it. I don't really think about any of those things that were holding me back before because now it's just like, oh, let me try this filter and let me try this thing. And I want to see what that does. And I don't even think about how it's necessarily going to be received. Like the process of just learning it and having my hands in it now is just a lot of fun for me. So I just want to say that to give you some encouragement and give you some love and, and give you some momentum, like, be like
Thank
Nike,
you.
just do it.
Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
very
Appreciate it.
welcome.
I'm so glad. That's so cool. Okay. And that habit tracker just gets around. Yeah. It's a sheet that I share that has 66 squares on it. We are working on one thing at a time. Some of us have modified it so that they have a larger number of habits that they're tracking, but in its purest form, you take one habit and you do it for 66 days and you just keep going and going and going and going and going. And so I just love how everybody personalizes it and makes it their own. Anybody else want to dive in here before we move on to the next bit? Quiet. Oh, quiet. So quiet. Okay. All right. So we're going to do something different today. We're going to coach, a little bit of laser coaching. Who wants to be coached? Put up your hand. Okay, Markeisha, let's go. What do you want to be coached on? How can I help you?
What do I want to be coached on? Okay, so I've been experiencing a great deal of fear around writing, which makes no sense because I have a BA in English literature. And I have to write, like, I'm doing a fellowship with with the school that I got my coaching certification from. So, we're putting together some like articles and things of that nature. And I mean, it's fun because I'm doing it with my friends and we're in a whole cohort, but every time I sit down to write, I'm frozen. My brain goes blank. I start to shake and shiver. And I just have these overwhelming feelings of like, I can't do this. I can't write this article. I don't know what to say. Like all of these limiting beliefs, which in my logical mind makes no sense. I know that I can write things and I know that I can write fairly well. So I don't know why this is happening to me now.
Yeah. So when you're in that position and you're sitting at your desk ready to write, and all this freeze mechanism, this trauma response shows up, let's just call it what it is. It's a stress response. How old is the woman or girl who's feeling that?
Teenage.
Teenage. Okay. Yeah. What's she saying to herself? What is she saying to herself?
I feel in those moments, I feel like I am back in boarding school and I have, deadlines on, massive amounts of homework and papers and all of these things to do. And I just feel completely overwhelmed and underprepared.
Such an interesting combination. Overwhelmed and underprepared. And my guess is that you probably were an overachiever as well.
Oh, absolutely. Gold star kid.
Right on. You wouldn't be on this call if you weren't one of those. Talk to me about your body. How does your body feel?
In those
like you
moments,
said, frozen, but I want to hear exactly where your body feels frozen.
there is a tenseness in like my abdomen, like my diaphragm. Like I feel like my body kind of curl in on itself.
Yeah. Let's do that. Curl in. Tense abdomen. Do you feel cold or hot?
Hot.
Okay.
I'm actually like starting to perspire. I can feel the feeling.
Good. Yeah. Hot, tight abdomen and shrinking. Like you're wanting to kind of go backwards.
Like go in the shell. I'm a
go in
Cancer,
the
so I want to
shell.
go in the little crab shell.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's hear. What do you notice?
I feel afraid that whatever I produce is not going to be up to a particular standard.
Whose standard?
Everyone's. Like a little bit of mine, a little bit of like my teachers, a little bit of my parents, like everyone. Like I want people to feel my writing. And I feel like if that's not achieved, or if it's not something that's, like a wow, then it's not good enough.
And so if they don't feel something and go, wow, that was amazing. And it's
trash.
It's
absolute garbage.
It's not even not good enough. It's just absolute garbage.
Absolute garbage.
So you just make sure you never write so that you never have to write absolute garbage.
Correct.
So the thought, it might not be good enough, it won't be good enough, creates the fear. And then the resulting action is you hold yourself back from even trying. Definitely no googly eye stickers on that baby. Right?
There, I've got
yeah.
I keep looking at the tracker and I'm like,
yeah, right. And the result is you never write. So it can never be good enough.
Well, and it's weird because there are moments when I don't have to write, when I do not have to, when there's no expectation from anyone else that I will produce a thing, and I write. And I think it's magic. It's that inflow feeling, like, and the thing that is produced feels like it's an out of body experience. It's otherworldly, and it does produce that effect. I wrote a thing for a client the other day. I do a thing where I do custom meditations for people. And part of it is something that I have them write. And the other part is something that I write for them, like the intentions and love and compassion and nurturing that I feel for my clients. I write that in there as well, because I have this belief that you know, there's a trifecta of faith that we have to have. There's us, there's our creator. And if you can get one more other person in there, then you have this strong triad of belief and possibility. So when I do that, it's amazing.
But you're not writing from that place. So when you're in that place, you're able to write.
Mhm.
When you have decided that your writing exercise isn't allowed to be in that place, it's always going to be crap. What do you think? No wonder you're scared. Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to laugh, but I mean, really, can you see
No, it's
that?
fine.
Right? You know how to do it in the way that is like magical and amazing and of service to your people. And then you, for some reason, have a new rule that applies to this other kind of writing, and I'm not even sure what that writing is. And you're not allowed to apply the rule that works to this writing. So how could it ever work?
It's like-
I'm sorry, you're not allowed to do it the way you like to. Definitely not.
It seems like when it's for someone else, it's fine. Like I can do it. That's for my client. That's in service to my client. That's, you know, but whenever it's anything else outside of that, it does not seem to work.
So there's a funny little thing here. So when it's in service to my client, when it's in service, then it's no problem because
No
it's done
problem.
with love and gift, like it's a gift, right?
Yeah, any gifts, like I mean, birthday card. My friend cried the other day with birthday card I wrote for her. Like,
Right on.
it's fine when it's that, but it's like this, I don't know, like kind of school type assignment. I am like having all of the anxiety, all of the performance anxiety.
Yeah, so I got two things for you. Don't do it. There's my first thing. Don't ever write like that. I'm telling you, it's not going to work for you. Second thing is remember who the receiver of the gift is. So anybody who reads your writing, they're reading it, and it is a gift to them. Whether they happen to be a current client or a past client or a future client doesn't matter. The person receiving the words and reading them and being impacted with them is receiving a gift. Can you just write to that person? And you know, that other kind of writing, okay, I'm giving you like a full-on permission to never do that writing again. It is against the rules.
It's been outlawed.
You got it. Yes, it is off the table. How's that feel?
That feels better.
All right. So your job is to write and imagine who you're writing to. It could be an actual person. It could be just sort of the spirit of a person. And you're writing to them as a gift. Those words are a gift to them. It's not up to you to decide. Those words need to be made real. That's your only job. Okey-doke.
Yes, thank you.
Good. All right. Good. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for playing. Who wants to go next? Let's talk. Hands up. Speak up. Thanks, Markeisha. Appreciate you. Anybody else? Too terrifying? Oh my God. Am I so scary? Okay.
Well, I could
Come and
really-
play, Allison. Lovely.
I could really relate to what Markeisha was saying because I'm a fairly good writer too, and I've written since I was a child, but I haven't written anything that, you know, for publication or I wrote one thing one time, and I have the option of belonging to an excellent group of writers through a college in Portland, Oregon, and it's for women writers, and it doesn't cost anything. It's sort of, you know, complimentary from the college, and most of the women in there are published. They're serious writers. It's a fabulous opportunity for feedback, and I join and drop out and join and drop out. This has been going on for decades, and it's sort of a bit like what Markeisha was saying, that even though it's the perfect place for brilliant feedback, and it's very supportive, I'm just sort of terrified of not being good enough, So
That voice is the voice that plays in all of our heads. That voice of not being good enough. Something that you said kind of speaks loudly to me, this join and drop out thing. The forward and stop, the forward and stop, the forward and stop. How does that serve you?
well, it doesn't. Not at all.
Well, just a sec. Actually, it must. You're doing it. So it serves you in some way. What might that be? It might not be a way that you choose that you really want, but it is helping in a way.
Yeah, it means I don't have to commit to something and then really stick with it. It gives me the freedom to just flake off if I want to and not do it.
Yeah. So it gives you the dopamine hit, that little rush that you get when you join and you start, like, this is going to be it, right? I'm doing it this time. And then when you drop out, then you just reinforce some disappointment. Yeah. So that join and drop out thing, like what you just described about this writing group, is, I think, really, it's a really similar dynamic for a lot of things that we might take on as entrepreneurs. So we may be really good at designing a program, but then never deliver it. We may be really good at writing blog posts, but never press publish. We may be really good at coaching and never make an offer to a client to help them. When we do that, I know that overtly, it's like, well, that doesn't help me. But it does, because ultimately we have, like, we're kind of two minds, right? Like, we really want that thing. Like, you're a talented writer who really wants to write, or you would never go back. You would never think about it. You would never even consider it to talk about it. And it's dangerous because it changes who you are. It changes your self-perception. They might say something and it might touch you a little too close to your heart. Worst thing ever is they might actually say, this is amazing. This is so good. Where have you been? Why aren't you writing like this all the time? Like, then you've got an even higher bar. So think about this, that we want to do these things, but at the heart, more than anything, we want safety and security. And our inner critic, that voice that keeps us small and safe, does not care if we ever have a business, if we ever write, if we ever get amazing feedback from that group, if we ever do a video on Insta, if we ever make an offer to a client to work with them, especially ones that we can help. It doesn't care about any of those things. It doesn't care about our growth. It wants us to stay safe in the cave. That's it. That's all it wants. So no wonder you start and then you stop. What would it be like if you had your own back? If you said to yourself, listen, Allison, I got you. I got you on this. Sometimes it's going to be hard, and we're going to stay for the hard too. No matter what, I'm not going to let you feel like give up on yourself. What if you had your own back to say that to yourself? What would that be like?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So how do you do it? There's the question of the hour for you, because I think you know.
Yeah, I have to, I need to just believe a couple of things. And one is, my closest friend is a writer, a published author. And she tells me over and over how good my writing is, and she has great advice. And I just need to listen to her and believe her, because I know she's not lying to me.
Yeah.
I need to trust that and then take that on myself, to believe in myself. And I also once took a lot of classes and workshops from a very good writer. And she said to me one day, you know, you can write. She said, I see a lot of students, and a lot of them, you know, aren't able to really write well, but you can. And the way she said it to me, I was able to believe what she was saying. And I just need to keep those two people in mind and believe it.
So there's a couple of things here. So sorry, I can't look at you while I'm formulating my thought. You don't know that about me, but that's the way it is. There's something about the way that you said, I need to believe what their opinion is of me. And that's not a once and done thing. And so first, that is a daily habit to believe. It is not, you're not going to believe it once and then believe it that way for forevermore. You got to keep at it. You're creating a new habit. And if you choose to use their voices and their words as your encouragement, good for you. A better place that you may want to look is, how can you believe in yourself? You know, like other people tell us stuff. That's great. And it's wonderful that you got that encouragement. My wish for you is that you would believe it for you.
Mhm.
Not because somebody else believed it,
Mhm.
but because the words that go on that paper that you write, they're the words that are meant for you to write. They come through you and make it onto paper through you. And they are meant to be read by the people who are meant to read them, right? So, like, it's kind of a larger topic, this believing in yourself. But I think that your first marker, this idea of, they told me something and I could really hear that and I could allow that in. I think it's a great place for you to start. What do you need to do to remember that every single day? That's where this starts, right? This is where the rubber meets the road.
I think I just need to visualize what I really want, what my dream is, you know, just remind myself of that every day, that's what I've always wanted. And that, back to the child and having fun, you know, when I was a child writing, you know, it would never have occurred to me to doubt myself.
Yeah.
So I just need to keep reminding myself of that I'm in this for fun.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing, I don't know if you do this. Do you write every day?
Journal writing.
Okay. Write more.
Yeah.
It's the only way you're going to be a writer, right? Is keep writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. Yeah,
Right,
I love it.
right.
Good for you. Does that help?
Yeah,
A little bit of
thank you.
thoughts?
Yep.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, we got 5 more minutes before we call it done for today. Who else would like to go? We got time for 5 minutes. You can bring anything. And I promise to not bite.
I think one of the biggest challenges that Allison touched on was this believing in yourself. And it's very good to hear that it should be a daily habit, because it's not like magically just there,
Yeah,
but it's something that needs to be worked on every day. And it's one of the toughest things sometimes.
it is. Yeah. And the weirdest part of it is that overt, like in the outside world, you can be the biggest achiever, right? Like you can have all the things and you still might not actually believe it. So
Absolutely.
there's nothing that shows like in your outside world that you believe in yourself. It's an inside job, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. What would be, just before we wrap up, I'm just kind of curious like, how do you practice self-belief? And so the question is for you, Katinka, but also for everybody else. What's that way that you can practice daily believing in yourself?
I guess journaling is one way.
Yeah.
To really very intentionally and purposefully support that feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I like that you pinned that it's a feeling. There's that feeling of, like, when I think of self-belief, I think of, it's quite relaxed, like I don't need to rush around and do a bunch of stuff. It's okay. It feels sufficient. I feel centered. More allowing, which is kind of an odd combination. And I'm just telling you how I feel when I feel that self-belief, because I'm sure it's different than how each of you experience it. I just want you to see that everyone will experience it slightly differently. The daily work. Yeah, cool. Anybody else want to pitch in before how you might practice growing your self-belief? Lily?
I will go.
Hello.
For me, that would be I need to take action to believe in myself. I've noticed that the more I take action, the more I believe in myself. Like I would say, like I would do grateful journal. Like give me a week, like every week, every day during a week, I will write something that I'm grateful for. But I need to really take action, a small action. And the more I do it, the more I believe in myself.
Interesting.
That's work for me, actually.
Yeah,
Even
that's
if
helpful.
it's drinking water, I say, okay, today I'm going to drink more water, but I feel proud and I believe in myself more and more. But it's really small action that I need to do during a period of time. And I notice that my self-belief is growing that way.
I like that. So we've got the journaling, and then we have the action, and then we have the emotion side of it as well.
Yeah.
And everybody has their different approach, and all approaches work. Like all of these approaches will work. And how you've described it, somebody else might go, oh, I'm going to try that too. Some people might be more into the journaling side of it. And I really like having this variety. Cool. Anybody else before we call it done for the day?
I meditate. I meditate and seeing what's possible with believing, well, seeing the outcome,
Mm-hmm.
where I want to go.
Your future self.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that done place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that too. So do you actually create the goal in your mind and then go to the place that it's done and then go into meditation and sort of live at that level where it's done? Yeah.
I set my attention as to what do I want to accomplish, and then when I meditate, I see myself there, and somehow I get the signals as to how I'm going to go about achieving all this. It gives me the process.
So there's a piece here that's interesting, and it's this piece of I guess the word that comes to me is the word of trust. So that you trust the guidance that you hear in meditation, and that you trust that you will hear the guidance, that you actually do the process.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I bet it works like amazing. It's probably an amazing process. Yeah.
It is.
You're right.
The more I believe that it works, the faster it comes, and you hear this messages more and quicker, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's almost figuring out how to manifest what you want, and it gives you the roadmap to get it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's interesting. I have a similar experience. I do a similar thing, and it just even at that very, very short space of quiet
Mhm.
to give when you give yourself that, it's amazing how sometimes the things that the messages, the things to do are so much simpler than I would have done with my type A brain. My type A brain would have had this giant, 11 by 17 sheet of paper with the flow chart and process and everything. And then, but then that little voice says, it's okay.
Yeah, I think our head gets in the way.
Totally. Thank you. Yeah, that's the perfect way to end this. We don't need our head to get in the way. All right. So thank you, everyone. I'm so pleased that you joined me today. And I hope that this was a useful session. And thank you to the people who put their hands up to be coached. Markeisha, Allison, specifically, Katinka, actually everybody, Lily, Daniel, you guys all put your hand up and you contributed. It is, for me, I find that it's always so wonderful to see that everybody has a similar experience, and that when you share your piece of the puzzle, other people will go, yeah, me too, I understand that. And I just think that that is just one of the best ways of learning, is by learning from somebody else who's got that kind of a similar perspective. So I really appreciate you joining. And we're not going to have a call next week. It's a long weekend here in Canada, or at least in BC. But I will send out an email with the replay, and I will send out the next invite as well. Thanks again for joining me. And don't forget, I have given you the link for the accountability project. If you are thinking of joining, check it out. I would love to see you there. Starting June 1st to June 30th, we're going to do one project together. We're going to do the doing of it, and then there will be coaching on the places where you have hesitation or self-doubt, so that you believe in yourself more and actually create more of the things in the life that you want. Thanks again for joining me. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Candy.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Candy.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Candy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.